Maurice Nicol, Psychological Commentaries, Volume 4, Amwell, May 5th, 1951. Note on the state of our emotional center when we are asleep in the work sense. The fact of expressing negative emotions makes them grow and enlarge. All emotion which arises from the negative side of the emotional center wish to enlarge themselves, and the emotional center asks for food to continue being negative. Everyone has negative emotions, some more than and some less. But if you are, let us say, inclined more or less to be negative about everything and everyone, and you do not check it from conscious control, the negative part will grow and grow until you become unbearable to everyone except yourself. The negative part of the emotional center grows on what it feeds on, and if you allow it to feed on negative things, it will grow and grow. When you reach a point of self-observation in connection with the work, you may see that you're taking some person or event negatively, and you must try to control it and not let the way you're talking or taking the person or the event go straight down to the emotional part or to the negative part of the emotional center. The first conscious shock has to do with seeing how you are taking in impressions. A mechanical person cannot help himself or herself because there is nothing between him or her and the impressions coming from life, whether they take the form of a person's or the events around them. A person who is continually negative is a very ill person from the work point of view. An incoming impression, if you have a little self-remembering and self-observation established in you by the work, namely, if you have begun to notice how you take things, is the beginning of the whole possibility of altering, of changing your being. However, few people have this place that the work seems especially to make in you all. Most people are simply swamped by everything that happens to them, and so the negative part of the emotional center grows and grows until one is really in a very bad state, a really sick person from the standpoint of the work. And I mean also by this, a person who has absolutely failed to develop himself or herself. In fact, a person will not be in the work. Now begin to feel a little responsible for your own states and begin to realize what it means to see that we are all made self-developing organisms and that our self-development depends on how we behave psychologically, emotionally, spiritually towards life. I can take an event mechanically, or I can take the same event in quite another way, consciously instead of mechanically. Here lies the value of the work, for the power of the negative part of the emotional center is terrifically strong. The inclination to be negative is very difficult to overcome, and we're foolish to think otherwise. Here lies indeed the devil and hell. I must add that it is useless maintaining a resigned attitude towards everything, which is merely false and insincere. On the other hand, if you begin to practice being passive by inner work to what angers you, etc., that can make you grow. To learn how to be passive to a situation or a person, that is wisdom. But I assure you, it takes a long time to see what this means. But the continual expression of negative emotions is when people talk to you saying they cannot stand this or that, will produce in people a continual growth of the negative part of the emotional center. Now let us talk once more about why the work speaks so much about the purification of the emotional center. The reason is that when the emotional center is altered or purified from the negative emotions, you can begin to get help. You can begin to receive influences of a new kind which help you understand much of what you did not understand before. When the emotional center is made better or more or less by your own work on it, you may be given strength from these higher centers in you which are always awake and always speaking to you. In other words, you may be helped by them. I really mean helped. So to enjoy negative emotions is one of the worst sins that you can commit in the work. Sin in the original Greek means missing the mark. If we want to try to awaken, which is our great aim eventually, we must try to observe our negative emotions which stand in the way of this awakening about which all esoteric teaching speaks, whereas to enjoy negative emotions, nourish them in ourselves by inner talking, is the very opposite to what one has to do to make it possible to awaken. There were some questions recently about what aim means. The great aim of this work is to awaken from the sleep that we are in, and one great power that keeps us asleep is our love of being negative. So if you want to make aim in the work, you cannot make aim to awaken just like that, but you must be more subtle, more internally educated in the ideas of the work and see what particular love of being negative is keeping you asleep. The curious thing is that since we have no real conscience, we think it is quite all right to speak against other people and enjoy a good negative talk. At the same time, I must admit, when people who are in the work soon feel very uneasy when they are negative and do not care for such emotions. Aim, therefore, must begin with seeing specifically that your emotional center, what your aim, therefore, must begin with seeing specifically what your emotional center is like and trying to work on some of the worst negative emotions which lie in it. The trouble is that we identify so easily with our negative emotions. In some strange way, people often feel better when they're negative. It should not happen after a certain time in the work. They should not feel better when they feel unhappy or feel worse. When you're negative, everything is arranged wrongly, the wrong way around. I mean, the truth, the knowledge of the work is all turned the wrong way around.